Hello, it's Joe Welinske from ConveyUX. I'm the program manager for our event that's coming up in Seattle in January. And I'm speaking with many of the presenters who will be at the event, and I'm talking today with Pamela Pavliscak. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, how are you doing?
All right, where are you speaking to us from?
I'm in our offices at Change Sciences.
And
Mm.
where's that located at?
We're in New York.
In Manhattan?
Well, we have an office in Manhattan, but I'm in our Hudson Valley office, which is very pretty.
Well, I thought maybe we'd start with you just talking a little bit about your organization and the types of things that you're involved in.
I'd love to. Well, I've been doing this for quite a while. I'm really a researcher at core. What I love to do is sit down with people, talk to them, observe what they're doing. But as time has worn on, we incorporate other methods in what we do, and we're doing a lot of research online. We have developed a tool in house to do that. And so at Change Sciences, we're really focused on the research and strategy piece of the user experience and approaching that from a lot of different angles, really. Smaller studies to big studies, online, in person, ethnographic, whatever approach makes the most sense for getting at how people really interact with and feel about technology.
And so what's it like on a daily basis for you? What are some of the activities that you regularly get involved with your project work?
Well, I'm in the field a lot. I'm talking to typically doing about 100 one-on-ones every month. So even though I probably should step back because I'm busy doing other stuff, I just love being out there and talking to people and trying to observe what they're doing and understanding that. So, and all that's for client work. Then we have probably the other piece of what I do is looking at our online data set and trying to figure out, well, what are the patterns? What are the relationships? We have an online data set of about 10,000 people and 300 sites, and we're looking at things like happiness and trust and kind of all kinds of um, nodes of, of experience and understanding what those really mean and how we can use that information to make it better. So I'm kind of split between traditional research and a little bit of data science, I guess.
Well, between all that work with research and data science, are there any new things that are sparking your interest? New design thoughts or technologies or things you're figuring out how to work with?
Well, mobile is kind of my obsession. So it's hard to turn off the researcher part of me. So one thing I've been doing that I think is a little crazy, but it gives you some insight into what I'm like, is I travel all the time for research. And so what I am doing is tracking that data. I'm observing people, how they're using their phone or their tablet, what their expression is, what their posture is, even kind of going around and seeing what they're looking at and trying to uncover patterns of like, well, what really makes people happy? What are they doing? When are they sharing it by showing to somebody? When are they, communicating back and forth? And so that's kind of an ongoing project that has interested me. And because I see more and more people using smartwatches and other kinds of devices, I'm kind of getting clued into that too.
Well, you're going to for the session that you're going to be presenting in Seattle that's titled Massively Mobile, Gen Z and the Future of Mobile and Wearables. So that's an interesting theme. Where did the idea for this topic come from?
Yeah, that doesn't sound ambitious at all when you say it like that, does it? Well, like most good projects, it comes from my everyday life. So I'm exposed to a lot of tweens and teens in my own life, having a couple living in my household. And I got interested in how they're using technology and what are they doing that's different, and how how can I understand that in the context of what I already know? And so we have other research involving um, those age groups, a little younger than millennials, and it really is fascinating the kinds of things that are coming out of that. I mean, the way there's this kind of mythology that people are younger, they're digital natives, they just know it. It's just like in the water, but that's not entirely true. I think what you know I'm seeing in the research is that they're learning a lot because they're constantly looking to each other and showing each other what they're doing, and having that kind of a different kind of experience with technology than I think a lot of us do, where it's kind of more of a solitary experience in a way. So that's just one of the many kind of things that struck me and got me interested in that, is experiencing that. And so we have quite a bit of research and some really interesting patterns to share at ConveyUX about that.
Well, in that topic, you were talking about Gen Z, and so just from your experience, what have been some of the trends that you've noticed in the maybe I guess relatively short history of mobile, but just trends in terms of teens being involved in technology? Are there certain things that are maybe more important than a few years ago to observe or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I think one big trend is, I guess it's privacy, I would say. So whereas the millennial generation, and this is a broad generalization, but across the board, they were kind of known for um, sharing and wanting recognition and being out there. This generation is more about having private conversations with their friends and not sharing things with everyone. And there's another trend, so we'll talk a lot about some of the behaviors around that. Um, and then another big trend, besides privacy and the way that they're sharing, is this kind of maker aesthetic that they have, that they really want to be hands-on and creating things. Maybe not at the coding level, although there's a fair amount of that, but um, gifting things that they made electronically to each other is a big part of that mobile experience for teens, and other ways of being creative using technology is really super important to this group. So I think that's really interesting.
And with respect to wearables, how do you see that emerging with respect to types of work that you do? What do you see yourself as? How do you see yourself as getting involved in that space?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because clients are kind of, that's how the work comes in initially. So a lot of it, we're still seeing a lot of focus on desktop and more on mobile. And now clients are starting to say, well, listen, we want to understand what it's going to be like in embedded experiences in the household, or smartwatches is a big thing that's sort of coming along with a lot of clients trying to figure out ways to leverage that. And so I think from a research perspective, it's more exploratory at this point than actually going in and saying, okay, let's look at how people respond to this experience that's already been created, which is what happens a lot. In this case, it's really how do we kind of co-create with our users to figure out what this experience is going to be. And so that's been really interesting to see that kind of turn.
Well, thanks for spending a few minutes talking about your interests and previewing some of the things you'll talk about. And I'll see you in a few weeks when you're here in Seattle.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, thanks a lot, Pamela.
Bye now.